as BYU won the toss and elected to defer in front of a sold-out crowd at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. And a fair catch by Jaden Nixon. Different quarterbacks to play this year for UCF, though he has been the primary starter. Here's Miles Montgomery with a good run. Watch out for Montgomery. Taken down by Tanner Wall.
That Scott Frost has had to go through this year.
Back to the ground. Montgomery was bottled up that time. And this has sort of been the story of the year for UCF, when their offense has really clicked. 11th play of this opening drive for UCF. On 2nd and goal, Jackson to the end zone for a touchdown. And he does find Dillon Wade for the opening score of the game.
Well, Alfrey and how he's getting the start today, but he's the one right here I believe should be matched up against Dillon Wade. Dillon Wade's right here on the left side on the end of the line of scrimmage, and he releases, and you'll see 25 come in there, and I think his passing game, as he sees different looks every single week, starts to really settle into the position.
Takes it to LJ Martin, feeling some pressure. Bachmeier dancing, ball is out, and he fell on top of it. Lewis Carter, their leading tackler for UCF this year, punched it free. No, I want to show. And today is another opportunity to show, as Sam Vanderhaar boots a punt to Antoine Jackson. Cutting it back upfield. Jackson now with some room. And he is taken down out across the 45-yard line. Sherry Burris. Jackson checks it down underneath. Wide open. Ajamin Adai. Touchdown.
Well, take a look at your backer right here. This is Jack Kelly. And you'll see as you roll the tape, it's going to leak out right at the last moment. And because he's running the opposite way, he's wide open in the defense.
However, with Arizona's win last night against ASU, BYU already clinched a spot in the Big 12 title game against Texas Tech. Here is Cody Hagan with a seam. And he is tripped up right across the 30-yard line with a gain of 36. He has rotated at both guard positions this year. Wide open up the middle on the play action to Carson Ryan, the top tight end for BYU. And the Cougars in plus territory with a gain of 25. 12 in the opening quarter for 112 yards passing. Now Martin on the pitch has a lane and is taken out with a first down at about the 5-yard line. Good looking second drive of the game for BYU as the Cougs are knocking on the doorstep. And they are in for a touchdown. 9th rushing TD of the season for Martin.
Matt, take a look at the center right here, right in the middle. We're talking about Mitchell. He is absolutely going to get a pancake block in the middle, and it's just a walk-in for LJ Martin. Completely.
That's a young man you don't want to get hit by.
No.
There's a trick pass. Dwayne Thomas Jr. had it intercepted. BYU football. Evan Johnson with a takeaway. The mindset of you can't get me, because he's that elusive, Dustin, and has that great of decision making. And that time he was got, slipped in the backfield, and the second sack of the game for UCF.
About this heavy package.
And it's Martin marching in for a touchdown, his second of the game.
You got Bear in the backfield right there. And then, of course, how about this? You got a lineman, 64, Safarchuk, in the backfield.
Emphasizing that with their guys. And Dustin, it is apparent just how fast this UCF team is playing.
Especially from the skill positions, I think.
Well, that was blown up immediately. Logan Latui was in there with Bodie Schoonover, and it brings up 3rd and long. Pressure off the edge. Bachmeier with time. Kingston again, now in a foot race. And he was tripped up maybe by the turf monster. Inside the 20-yard line. Picked up 29 that time. UCF would love to hold them to another field goal. Bachmeier pumps. Now in trouble. Taken down in the backfield. Third sack of the game for UCF. And it's Kelly Lawson, the Virginia Tech transfer. This time he puts it right down the middle, and it's BYU's first lead of the game with 9 seconds left in the opening half. Fake it to Kingston underneath Martin, first down.
A little bit of an overcast afternoon.
Direct snap, LJ Martin, 10th play of the drive. Muscles it near the goal line. Is he in? No signal. Touchdown. His third. What an opening drive to start the second half for BYU. 11 plays.
So they put 95 in the game. Comes right in your screen. That, of course, is Trevin Osler.
Previous play of a touchdown is under further review.
I don't know why they're reviewing this. You can't see anything.
Since Taven Jackson's taken a legitimate snap.
And he is sacked in the backfield. First of the game for BYU. Tausili Akana.
I mean, it's palpable. There's no doubt.
Delayed blitz up the middle. Kelly. And an underhand flip from Jackson. And now the dangerous return man, Parker Kingston, at the 45. Dicing it up the middle. There goes Kingston. Past one tackler. House call. 55 yards.
Well, Matt, down the field, you can see Kingston gets north and south. There was really one man on the UCF coverage unit that had a chance. Not to say that things have to be perfect, but when they are, he sure looks perfect.
Trick play here underneath. Dwayne Thomas Jr. with blockers. Cuts it inside the 20. Thomas Jr. wrestled out at the 10 by Bamba.
Get back in the game.
Direct snap, a dive, flips it to Jackson for a touchdown. The trickery of Scott Frost. He told us they would throw the kitchen sink at BYU this afternoon. Their first score since the opening.
Look at what we got in the backfield. We got big dudes back here, right? And those guys are not going to touch the football. It's more of a distraction, right? Everyone thinks it's going to be a wildcat, and you're just going to run it with a die up the middle.
BYU third in the Big 12 on fourth down conversions this year. Leave it in Bachmeier's hands. Over the middle, caught, first down and more. The 100-meter state champ is in for a touchdown. Parker Kingston for 46.
The UCF bench ruling on the field as a touchdown, try for point.
That 10-5 speed. And the throw, a dart by Bear Bachmeier. Jackson again escaping pressure. Not that time. Ball knocked out. BYU football. Raider DeMooney with the takeaway.
If there are only 2 losses, and again, they can win next week. But if they don't, and that is how it ends up, great play defensively there by Malachi. Malachi Lawrence, 51. An Arizona State team that beat Texas Tech. I know Texas Tech didn't have their starting quarterback at the time. Point is, the Arizona win's a huge win. The stretch that they had, basically from that Arizona game, and that's no good.
And then, of course, defensively, they'll get some injured players back as well. Bachmeier is a magician. Finally taken down after a small gain by Damari Henderson. And he splits the uprights from 50 yards. 41-21 lead for BYU. And they will now set their sights on a trip to Arlington for a rematch with Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game. Final play of the game goes to a dive. And he is tackled at midfield. A senior day victory for the Cougs in comeback fashion. And Bear Bachmeier's legend continues here in Provo.
Well, it was not the best start